Hey everybody, Zach from 19 here back with a top 5 list. Actually, this is my second time recording this because I didn't realize my head was not in the frame. Like, hardly at all. It was like kind of like this a bit. Mainly because I was trying to get this in frame. But anyways, this is for season 5. A season that I really do like. Not my favorite. Just want to give the heads up though. That this was also the season they dedicated an episode for Grandpa Lou, and that was because the voice actor original one had passed by just recently, and they were only able to get a few episodes recorded after that with his original voice until they had to take him away from the show for a little bit, and then they got a replacement voice actor because that was also the lead up to the first movie. And where did I just put it? There are also a handful of episodes, to my knowledge, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, that were not supposed to be on season 5's disc because they're supposed to be part of season 4, which are Angelica's Knows Best, The Pirate Light, and the Grandpa's Bad Bug. I think are the 3 episodes that are supposed to be in season 4, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know. It's what I've heard from comments in the past, but also it would make sense for the animation because it doesn't look quite the same as season 5 does. But anyways, I'm going to get this started. I was going to put in the previous video I did Lady Luck, mainly because of the tribute. That was the tribute episode for the original voice actor for Lou. But I'm not going to put that on this list, only because I do like other episodes more. But I'm going to give the differences between the voice actors for Grandpa Lou. The first one had more of like a raspy, like yelly kind of voice than the other Grandpa Lou voice. The second Grandpa Lou voice, in my opinion, was more, even though they sound so close to each other, almost identical, except for the second one had more of like a tongue sound, like his tongue kind of gets in the way of some of his words. I think I don't know how to describe it, but at the same time he's more of a soothing voice. He's not like as yelly as he was in the previous seasons. But it kind of softened up his character anyway, to where he's more kind-hearted not kind-hearted. What's the word? He's more of a kid person. Becomes more of a kid person in the later seasons. And I like that change, to be honest, because I do like his original character so much, but his character just gets gradually better, starting in season 3 and onward. What was it? So my first episode, though, well, in terms of, I guess, which voice actor I liked more, I like both, but I think I'm so used to the second Grandpa voice that I'm used to that one more than the original, but it doesn't mean that either of them are bad. I think the first 2 voices are perfect for the character, but I don't mean the reboot, because that reboot is garbage. But also, both voice actors are now gone. Both grandpas are gone, sadly. So starting with my first episode in this season that I like a lot is Piggy's Pizza Palace, where Angelica, Tommy, Phil, Lil, and Chucky, and Drew, and Stu went to Piggy's Palace, which is pretty much just a Chuck E. Cheese ripoff in a way. And it makes me kind of miss the old Chuck E. Cheese before what they are now. Because I don't like the new design all that much. He just looks like a generic mouse. Looks kind of ugly. Kind of boring to me. Not ugly, but boring. I like the older 90s look and onward. Granted, I'm a 90s kid, so that makes sense. But the older look doesn't look too bad, but definitely doesn't look like my kind of design. I'm so used to the 90s design and onward. The newest one's fine, but he looks so generic. Stuart Little looks better as a character to me than this new design of Chucky, but also I'm so used to the tokens too back then, because now they use some type of digital card reader thing. And I've been there recently with my niece, and it's fun being there with her, and the pizza's still not bad. The thing I just don't like is the new nonsense they push, the new card thing. I like the tokens, they're a lot more creative to me. I mean, the only things that they need to clean them all the time, that's really it. And they got rid of the animatronics, which can be scary to some kids, but didn't scare me as a kid. I don't know. Then there was the design of Chuck E. Cheese himself looks better in the old one. I've said that many times already, but anyway. They're in a place where it's super packed. The funny thing is, a lot more cars packed than there were, I think, people in the Piggy's Playhouse. Or Palace. Not Playhouse, Palace. But anyways, the kids are trying to play around while Stu and Drew are playing this Reptar pinball game. And Piggy accidentally, his tail, the guy who's in a suit, his tail's animatronic, so it twirls, and Angelica's messing around with the tickets, and it got stuck in his tail. And instead of saying, hey, Piggy, tickets are stuck in your tail, she just attacks them, and she gets put into like a little timeout area. And even though technically I don't know how they could legally even touch someone else's kid to do that, but anyways, when it comes to that, Tommy, Chucky, and Phil and Lil all think that Piggy stole her tickets, are trying to help her out to get that car that she wanted, the Cynthia car that she wanted. And it was just a really fun little scene. I like the little references. It was a really good episode. Obviously, she gets the toy car, and I think that's pretty much it. The ball pit gets torn open, but I'm trying to think of what else happened. I think there's not much I can really significantly say. It was a good episode. The next one up would be visiting Aunt Miriam, and I really like that episode because I like Aunt Miriam's character. She's very sassy and kind of she likes to mess with Grandpa Lou a lot, and this episode is one of my better ones in my opinion for season 5 because I just like where it's just Tommy, Chucky, Phil and Lil, and Grandpa Lou. They went to go visit Aunt Miriam, and they were initially just going to have like a little like just him with the kids with that day, but Aunt Miriam called him, wanted to do a what's it called, like a card game, I guess you would call it. I don't know what kind of game they were playing off in. My brain can't think. But anyways, Aunt Miriam and the other 2 older ladies that are there, well, for one thing, they kind of like Lou, and they're also going crazy over Chucky because thinking that he was so cute. And so one of them, I think Aunt Miriam or maybe one of the other ones said, I could just eat you up. And Tommy and Phil and Lil think that they want to eat Chucky, and they want to fatten him up with snacks. And they try to stop him from getting close to Aunt Miriam, but obviously that's not what they mean. And it was just a really good episode. I liked it. It was more of like a relaxing episode. It didn't go too much on the adventure, but also it wasn't too tame. It was just right. I liked it. That's 2. Let's see, the next one would be Where's Grandpa? I really liked that episode where they're at a gas station coming home from this event that Stu and Dee Dee went to. They got this tree that Dee Dee wanted and wanted to go home and plant it before it withers. And Grandpa Lou was sleeping in the back of the car, like where the trunk is in a way. But this car is like a van, so obviously there's no way he can get stuck or suffocated or whatever. It's like a standard van like trunk. And he fell asleep. And then when they were getting things from the gas station, Lou went out into the bathroom without telling them, and they left without him. And another car comes behind him that's identical to theirs, and he thinks it's theirs, goes open up the door and tries to sleep inside their car. Tommy and Chucky try to tell them to stop, but it's not working, so they toss Grandpa's stuff out of the car to get their attention, but it doesn't work either. But instead, the car that's behind them sees the stuff and goes around it and wakes up Lou, and they kick him out. And in a way, you can understand from the parents' point of view that they wanted a random old man who was in their car out of there, but they didn't give him time to explain what happened, or try to. And he comes to find out that there's this little stop, like an amusement area that's based off Canada, and which I would hate to live in Canada nowadays. What was it? So yeah, it was like a little tourist attraction kind of thing, but it wasn't an actual Canada. It was still in the U.S. And he thinks that he's stuck in Canada, and he's trying to avoid the police when it's not really a police there. It's actually just people doing like trash build up, like collecting trash around the area. And then they finally got one item left, and they threw it out, and it hit the bottom of the car. And that's when they said, we're going to drop off here, and which is ironically the same place where Lou was at. Tommy and Chucky, are set down while Stu and Dee Dee are ordering food from this little igloo place, which is kind of funny. A little gag they do is because they're in an igloo and it's really hot in there, and the employees are sweating like crazy. When Stu puts Tommy down, and they're about to go off their adventure without them knowing, you can see a small error when Stu puts him down, where he's talking, but the animation doesn't continue, and his mouth is just a smile, and he's just putting him down. I think it's just a little technical error from the animation, but I think it's hilarious. I like it when they do that. Just for the sake that I like to point them out. They do it just as much in later seasons too, on occasion. But the show itself, that episode itself was really good. There's a scene where they're on this train that looks like it's going to run off the rails, but I think it was part of the thing, and it's supposed to go back maybe. I don't know offhand, but it was closed for that day, and Dee Dee and Stu and Dee Dee were looking at it thinking that it was going to run off, and Stu runs after it, and when it stops, the babies get off, and the thing goes backwards, and Stu gets chased, and for the rest of the episode until it finally shows him kind of beaten up a bit from the train, which I think he could have just jumped out of the way. I don't know, but I still think it was a funny gag. It was a really good episode. I really liked it, and that was Rats. Was that 3? Yeah, that was 3. The next one up is Journey to the Center of the Basement. That's the one episode in the previous video I tried recording this, I messed up on. And didn't put that in that list, but I am now. Journey to the Center of the Basement is a really good episode where Chucky gets this new Reptar Junior toy, where it's like a wind-up, light-up Reptar toy, which looked cool when I was younger. I kind of wish they would have made that in real life. But now NECA could do that. That'd be great. And it was a really cool episode where it was supposed to be like an Indiana Jones like reference, and that's, I think, the first time they did that was that episode, I think. And they did that thing in that first movie as well, and then later episodes as well in later seasons, in terms of him being Indiana Jones, even though I'd never seen those movies personally. But I still think the references were cool that I could tell from what I know of it and from the references. I think the episode itself was really good, really well done. I also like the joke when Chaz is distracted on his phone trying to solve this puzzle thing, and he's flirting with the girl on the other side. It's absolutely hilarious. But this is still before Kira was in the show. But this this episode was really good. I really liked it. Next up would be the Family Tree. The Family Tree's parts 1 and 2 is technically one episode. I'm going to count it as one. So it's pretty much the episodes leading up to the first movie, where at the very end of part 2, you'll see that Dee Dee, throughout parts 1 and 2, she gets nauseous on this little boat trip that Stu and Dee Dee were going on for their anniversary, for the 5th anniversary, and they left Tommy with Chaz and his parents. And during that time, she was getting seasick, and come to find out, she was expecting, and that's why. But during the time when Tommy's at Chucky's home, and they were playing outside, and they throw a ball, I think, in the bush, and Tommy's trying to look for it while the other guys are still playing. And Chaz and Chaz's dad, I think, sees him out the window looking by himself, thinking that something's wrong. And then Chaz goes by him saying, "Hey, this might be him having separation anxiety." And obviously that's not it. He was just looking for the ball that was in there and trying to get more extra attention for Tommy, so that way he doesn't feel left out or sad that his mom and dad aren't there. But obviously it wasn't that case. But Chucky felt jealous that he was getting more attention than him because of Angelica telling him that he prefers Tommy over him, which was a lie, obviously. Phil and Lil were in that episode too. So she was telling Chucky to mess with Tommy so that way he can get more attention from his dad. Obviously that was a lie, and they become closer, Tommy and Chucky, at the very end of the episode because of what when they found out the truth, anyways. And the Family Tree part comes in where Chaz is holding Tommy on his lap and showing him on a computer at the time the family tree with all of his relatives. And Tommy and Phil and Lil take that literally and think that Chucky went up the tree because he said he was just going to leave, because Phil and Lil told Tommy that. And Tommy forced Angelica to go up the tree to find him, but he was actually in a bush on the side. But it was a really good episode, really good ending, a really good way to lead up to season 6 later on, but also the first movie, which was a really good movie, but I still think the sequel movie's better. But tell me in the comments below what you guys are going to think about this video. What do you think of season 5? What are your favorite episodes from the season? And what season is your favorite? See you guys next time, and God bless.